Guys, Nemo. I'm just going to do a quick video to follow up with my Destroyer What Is My Role video about using modifications, because modifications save lives. Now ultimately the modifications or the upgrades on your ship are down to your playstyle, but there are some that are absolutely recommended, and steering gears is one of those. So we're going to start in tier 4 here with the Clemson that I've got. I use it a lot, as you can see. She's just a good ship to play. Now I've got the modification magazine there instead of the main armaments. Now usually I would use main armaments. The higher tiers I go, I would use main armaments because you're more likely to cop high caliber, high explosive spam, which will damage all your guns. It'll damage your torpedo tubes, and you need both of those, especially with a destroyer, to run and to fight the game. But in tier 4 I've just got magazine modification because you can dodge a lot of shells quite easily. The caliber's not as high. A lot of battleships down in tier 4 don't really open fire on destroyers. They prefer to shoot the bigger things that they know that they can hit. I'll just check my Shenyang. I believe it's the same. Yep, so Shenyang, same thing. And Ichi Slav, there you go. No wonder I'm having trouble grinding that one. I haven't even really got any upgrades in there. So if we go up a couple more tiers, I don't actually have a tier 5 destroyer because I think they're all useless. Let me have a look what ones that I actually like. I don't really like the Japanese ones. They're just torpedo boats with hardly any guns. The Nicholas is not really that good. T-22 can be seen from space, and the Janwei, all the tier 5 destroyers just really hard to use. Not hard to use, but annoying. Anyway, we go up to tier 6 where you get some more slots. This is my Farragut, and I've got the main battery modification. Now another reason to run the magazine modification at higher levels is if you don't have enough of these Juliet Charlies, which eliminate the risk of you being detonated. Detonation is a massive problem in destroyers. After you go down to 75% health, you can be detonated quite easily. And then again, the must-have module of propulsion. With any destroyer you must have the propulsion upgrade. The damage control system, you don't burn enough or flood enough, you usually just get destroyed by a torpedo straight away. The steering gears modification, you don't really get hit in the back too much, it's more the center and your engine gets knocked out. And if you want to, you could use the engine boost upgrade to extend the action time of your engine boost, but the trade-off for your engine and being dead in the water is just not worth it. So propulsion modification is one I would always take. I actually recommend it as a destroyer captain. Now this one, 3rd slot main battery, usually I use main battery or aiming modification system 1. Now the reason that I would take the main battery is if I'm running a destroyer hunter build. Now to get my turrets to turn quicker, the Farragut's turrets aren't as quick. So if you have a ship like the Farragut or the Mars, any of the German destroyers whose turrets don't rotate that fast, and definitely on the Japanese, I believe my Hatsuharu, my Hatsuharu, I use the main battery because it just takes so long to turn a Japanese destroyer's turrets around. The other thing that I do run on the Farragut, which is a trade-off for main battery, is my commander skill of BFT. Now basic firing training drops the Farragut's reload time to 4.5 seconds, allowing it to hunt other destroyers better. And you need that because the concealment of the Farragut here, 7.3. Now if I have a full concealment build with a 10-point captain, it'll be 6.6. And when you've got torpedoes at 6.4 and you've got a concealment of 6.6, you definitely need to have that trade-off in gun power. The other thing that I run, now this is up to you how your game style is, propulsion modification or steering gears. Both are pretty good, although a lot of destroyers, they have really good rudder shift time anyway, so you don't really need to use the steering gears mod. So 2.7 seconds rudder shift time with the Farragut, and if you use that steering gears mod, you can drop that even further. But because you sit a lot in smokes, or not always a lot in smokes, but if you're in the capture circle and you want to move quickly, there's torpedoes coming. Propulsion mod's the one that I run, so I can always just get out of there really quickly if I get torpedoed and I'm in a bad position because of a mental error or there's an island in the way. I can move out of the way of torpedoes relatively quickly, so that's why I use the propulsion modification. Now if I go up another tier, this is the Mars, it uses the same, so it's still 4. I use the aiming systems modification on my Germans though, because the caliber of your guns is heavier and they already fire relatively slow compared to others, so the aiming modifications helps me turn my torpedo tubes around quickly and then allows me to get more shots on target with my heavier caliber guns than the other destroyers. The Gajimata, which has got to be my favourite tier 7 destroyer, same again. It's the engine, their main armament, so I don't lose torpedoes or guns as easily to high explosive. The recommended, and I wouldn't take anything else, propulsion modification. The aiming systems, I could run the main battery because this is a destroyer hunter. This is what you'd set your Pan-Asian lineup as: gunboats, destroyer killers. Both those are viable, main battery and aiming systems. And the reason that main battery is viable, again, because you run the BFT, Captain Skill BFT, faster firing. And then again, propulsion mod. And then when you get higher, so we'll go up to the Changmu. Now you're starting to get into 5. Tier 8's got the 5, sorry. Tier 9's got 6. Once you get to tier 8, you keep all those relatively the same, and then you run the concealment mod. It's another one of the givens as a destroyer. It's just an absolute given, the concealment mod. And then depending on how you like to play, whether you like to torpedo spam or gun things down, I would be taking one of these. Now I've got the torpedo tubes reload with the Changmu because the Changmu already fires relatively quickly. It is a Fletcher, so, and my Fletcher actually has the main battery upgrade, so my artillery, my guns are reloading every 3.1 seconds. Now if I take that off, it's 3.5 seconds, so it's not really much of a difference. So I could take that off and run the torpedo reload, which would make Fletcher torpedoes almost god tier at its tier, at tier 9. And then when I get higher, obviously this is my gearing. I don't have a Shimakaza, so that'll be a different build. It'll have a torpedo build obviously, whereas my in saying that, the gearing's torpedoes aren't actually that good. The reload time is so slow, so I run the torpedo reload, and then instead of running BFT on my gearing, I actually run the torpedo armament and expertise skill, which lowers that again. So my gearing can fire its torpedoes every 104 seconds, which is so much better than what it usually is. It's usually well up over 2 minutes. So that's just a quick video of modules, modifications that you use. Now depending on your captain, on the ship, what you want to set it up as, American ships, Pan-Asian ships, very good destroyers, hunters, they're hybrids, but they can wipe things out really well. Now the Mars, your German destroyers, you're probably going to do the same thing, set them up as destroyer hunters, although they're very good at cap control, especially once you get up higher into tier 9 and 10. And then your Japanese boats, they're definitely just torpedo boats, unless you play the Akizuki. Now when I get to the Akizuki, because I don't like the Japanese destroyer play, so I haven't ground the line. When I get to the Akizuki, which is totally different, a gunboat, I would be setting it up as a gunboat. I wouldn't be worrying about playing as a torpedo boat at all. But that's a special instance, something totally different. It's totally outside of the rest of the Japanese line. The rest of the Japanese line are torpedo boats. The Russian line are just pure gunboats. You're going to be sailing along, shooting things from range, unless you play. The only time that will change is when you go to the Ognavoy, Udaloy and the Grozavoy. They're more hybrid boats. So I hope that this video has helped out a little bit in what modules you can use, what you should use. Again, I'm saying it's more your style of play and very dependent on the ship. Now if you want to be, as I said, you want to be a destroyer hunter, then you can trade off that turret rotation quickly, or you can have the better aiming where you're likely to hit more shells. But shells of a destroyer, the dispersion, if you have a look, 97 meters maximum dispersion, so that's with that mod. It's not much more than 100 meters without that modification. So we'll go into some captain skills. Depends on, again, what style you play, what ships you play. So with my gearing, now I would either take as your first priority target or preventative maintenance. Preventative maintenance is great, especially if you get shot at a lot. The priority target is amazing for finding out what you're going to be, like how many people are shooting at you, really handy. Then steering gears for my next two, for my next 2 points. It is a given, it is a must-take skill on destroyers. Again, a destroyer that's dead in the water is no help to its team. Now the other skills, you can take survivability expert. I usually recommend this as the next skill, the 6-point skill. Give you that little bit extra health, especially with the gunfight. But torpedo armaments expertise, BFT, so basic firing training, and superintendent are also extremely good skills that you could take for that. You could also take vigilance if you sit in smokes a lot. Now then there's tier 10 skill, and the tier 10 skill, again a mandatory skill, having the concealment 10-point skill, the concealment expert skill. It's just a must take. Again, get that detection down as low as you can. And then your other skills, you do what you want with them as your build, as your style of play. I like to take the radio location because it's a good way of protecting yourself or hunting enemy destroyers. The AR is a recommended skill. You don't have to take it, but it's highly recommended. The more health you lose, the faster your torpedoes reload and your guns. The other one and then again, these survivability expert, torpedo armament, BFT, superintendent, or vigilance. Either of those are all extremely handy and can be used on any build, whether it's a gunboat build, a torpedo build, or a hybrid build. So that's our captain skills. Now, I hope that has helped a little bit with how to run a destroyer. I will do other videos on what's my role cruiser, because there'll be 2 separate videos there. There'll be what's my role island hugging cruiser and what's my role for open water cruisers. So that'll be different, and then what I'll do is I'll run the modifications for those two, because again, the island hugging cruisers have got different modifications and captain skills compared to the open water cruisers. So I hope this is handy, guys. I hope it helps you out. Thanks for watching.